Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Going to. So today we're going to be talking about what I call a burnout audit. Now, I was first turned on to the idea of a burnout audit by Greg Reese. You can find his information, on the Reese report on Substack. And so I'm not really sure how much anyone who's watching knows about burnout, but burnout is what usually happens when you burn the candle at both ends. Maybe you're working hard at your job and you have your side hustle, or you're volunteering, you're doing something, and you're just being overworked. And what eventually happens is you end up becoming burnt out. Now, a lot of times we see people and we recognize the result of the burnout. Maybe the pastor or the missionary, they fall into sin. The pastor has an affair. We see and recognize the result of the burnout, but we don't get to see what went into that, all the time that he was overworking himself, that he was pushing himself in the service of God sometimes, but the end result is burnout and can be falling into sin. And so with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about how each of us can do a little bit to prevent that burnout from happening in our own lives. So this is what we call the burnout audit. It's just two simple questions. The first one is, what is it in your life that is draining you? Okay, this could be things that you have no control over. It could be somebody that's in your life that is just a constant drain on that. You might or might not have control over whether that person is in your life or not. But if you do have control over the situation, it could be something that you're doing, pushing yourself, or maybe some video game, something that you have, I'm not going to say an addiction to, but just something that you use as a cope or whatever. It could be video games, Netflix, those types of things. Over time, those things actually end up becoming a drain on you. Okay. And so that's the first question. What is it in your life that is draining you? And the second question is, what is sustaining you? Now, notice those two sound a lot alike: draining, sustaining. And that's on purpose so that you can easily remember how to talk about that, how to think about that. What's draining me? What's sustaining me? And so, just like the things that are draining you, the things that are sustaining you also have the same question. Is this something that is in my life that I have no control over? Or is it something that you do have control over? And a lot of times, when you think about those things really deep, most things you do actually have control over. So I like to think about the Alcoholics Anonymous prayer in this one. It says, God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because that strikes to the heart of what we're talking about. These things in your life, things in my life that are draining us or sustaining us. Sometimes we don't know if there's something that we have control over or not. And I think if you just humbly go to that Alcoholics Anonymous prayer, pray it over your situation, that God can reveal to you which one of those things that you have control over and which ones you don't have control over. And then, like it says, accepting them can be very freeing. Now, the things that you do have control over, those are the areas that you really need to fight. In the things that are draining you, reduce as many of those as possible. And the things that are sustaining you, increase as many of those as possible. I heard it said that, you become your habits over the course of the years. Okay. And so that being said, the habits that I have in our lives, those are the things that we're going to become, whether they're going to be something that's draining us long term or something that's sustaining us long term. That's the question we have to ask ourselves: what kind of person that we want to be, what kind of person we want to become, and develop the habits or cancel the other habits accordingly. All right, so now I'm going to do something. I'm going to pray for anyone who's watching and just pray it over everyone who might see this video in the future. So let me pray. God, just thank you for this day. Thank you that I could just share this with anybody. I pray a blessing over the people that see it, God. I pray that you'd help them to see where it is that they are going down a way that would lead to burnout and not go that direction. And they would also be able to see the things that you would put into their lives that would help them to be sustained, that would help them to avoid burnout. I just want to pray what says in Proverbs, Lord. It says that the wise man sees the evil and hides themselves, God. And I pray anyone who's seeing this, that they would see those things, that they could avoid them, God, at all costs, Lord, so that they would not be able to be in burnout, God. Just want to pray a blessing over each person here today. In your name, Lord. Amen. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.